Hi guys, I'm Amy, Miss Amy May. Today we're going to be going over how I set my hair overnight using clip-in hair extensions. There's a few different things that go into this. I'm going to talk you through all of it. It's going to be a little bit of an info dump, but hopefully you will feel like you know what you're doing afterwards. Right, so we're going to be using clip-in hair extensions. So that means something like this, and you get your little clips. I got mine online on eBay, mine are Remy. I will put a link in the description and in my blog for the exact set that I got. I got two sets, but we'll go over this. You can buy these in any sort of beauty hair supply store that specializes in fake hair. You can get them these days in various other beauty stores, but they're normally synthetic. You're gonna want real hair so that it sets the same as your natural hair does. It looks more realistic. You can get, you could dye it so that it's the right color, and so that you can heat set it if you want to. I'll be showing you how I overnight wet set it, or sort of partially wet set it. But if you're going to be heat setting it, make sure that you use heat protection spray, both on your natural hair and the fake hair, because they will damage in the same way as your real hair does, because they're real. But when you do heat sets using either hot rollers or hot curling tongs that you use to form pin curls and clip and let them cool, it's going to work the exact same way that I'll be showing you in terms of putting it in and blending it with your real hair. So that'll be fine, but I'm going to be showing you how I do it overnight. Right, I wanted to show you when I got mine. I think they were about 20 inch, I'll have to look that up, but they were this length originally. I bought two sets, I think two full headsets, I don't know if it's half. And that is really long, which is great, but I only really wanted a little bit extra length because you can see this is my natural hair length. This is the remnants of a set. This is Saturday morning that I did Wednesday night to have fresh hair on Thursday. When I pin curl my hair, it bounces up to about here, which is great. But I always feel on me, it makes me look a bit older, or it's just kind of not as sultry as I like. So I wanted a little bit more volume and a little bit more length, and this was too much length. So this is originally the length that I bought. I trimmed that down a little bit. You can see I took off about even 3 inches off there, and that is still longer than I use. So this is the shortened version, that's the longer version, and this is the version that I use, that I have cut. So I cut a good, it's really hard to show you, I cut a good 4 or 5 inches off mine. There you go, to show you, because I just wanted them to be thicker. And another thing I also did to mine was they came single wefts, so that means it's only one strip there. I have quite fine hair, and I only like to clip them on the bottom half of my head, which I'll be showing you later, because otherwise I get paranoid that the clips will be visible from the back or the sides on the top half of my head. So if I'm trying to clip in 6, 7 different clips just on the lower half of my head, I'm kind of running out of hair to clip that into. So what I did was, using a stitch picker from sewing, I took apart the wefts from the clips on the matching widths, because I had two sets, the matching widths. And then I sewed both sets of hair onto the same clips, and then on the bigger sections, this only had 3 clips originally, and I sewed therefore 2 of the extra clips that I had here. So yeah, what I tend to use is I use this length, goes across the bottom back of my head. I'll go over this, and then I have two sort of almost the same lengths that I then use as well. You also get in a full set 2 pieces, I think, that are single clips, which are quite useful for placement. I don't even bother with them anymore really, and you get the sort of 3-4 inch wide set, and I don't bother with those either. But so it's all about how much volume you want. I dropped a roller. How much volume you want specifically. You have to play around with it a bit, it's fine. So as I mentioned, this is my hair. I've left it a little long really to be filming this, but it was all that logistics. This is my hair, so I set it in very tight pin curls on Wednesday night. Thursday I had a tight wet set brush out. Friday, yesterday, I didn't do anything. I had it down at work and then I tied it up. This morning I ran errands and had a bun in my hair. So really there's a bit more sort of, it's a little bit more dirty than I like at this stage. Normally what I do is I wet set it straight, you know. Normally what I do is I wet set it using my pin curl tool the night before I want to have really good hair. And then after I've had that first day from the brush out is when I would maybe set my hair again with longer. So I like to already have had a day's worth of brush out before I apply these. Because the thing is, if you are setting your hair wet with these, it's possible, but what you're gonna need to do is section your hair so the section that, say it's roughly about this much on me, the section of your hair that is not going to have extensions in, you are setting separately wet as you normally would, however you do that. And then when it comes to the bottom half where you're adding the extensions, if the extensions are wet and your hair is really wet, that is going to take forever to dry. I've tried that before, they came out damp. You're going to be leaving them 17 hours, maybe more, and possibly still having dampness. So what I would do then, because I'm going to be showing you this sort of the way I do it dry, which does still include some dampening, which I'll go over, but if you're doing it from wet, just do the top half wet, let the bottom half air dry to just barely being damp or mostly dry when you then add in the extensions and do what I'm going to show you next. Right, so we're almost ready to start. As I mentioned before, when I do it from dry, like this, I will use, this is water, I never fully top it up, it's water, and then I pour in a really little bit of my favorite setting lotion, which is Motion's at home foaming wrap lotion. It's not written on it, so that's annoying. I love this. This is formulated for black hair, afro hair. It's great. It's really cheap. It's really soft. You get really soft, nice brush out on it. You don't get the crispness, which is a nightmare. So I use a tiny, and I mean I pour a tiny bit of that in there. If you pour too much in and you spray it onto your extensions and stuff, they will come out crisp, and that's going to be annoying for you to work the brush out because obviously it's kind of only anchored in your head, it's not actually part of your head. So you might be pulling too hard and might end up unclipping, and then you have to clip it back in, and it's just annoying. So if you're going to do that, this is partly down to sort of how frizzy your hair is or isn't naturally, and you know that from your own wet set experience. But if you're going to do that, just make sure you put a tiny bit in. Right, so starting, you could use, when you're doing the wet set, there's three ways, there's two really, but say you can either do all of your head in pin curls, whether you have a pin curler tool or whether you just manually roll the pin curls yourself, or you can use foam rollers. You're going to need really big jumbo rollers because of the sections that have both extensions in and your hair are going to be very thick, way thicker than the normal sort of inch you would pinch to make your pin curls. So you're going to need big rollers. You can get rollers even bigger than this, but this is what I have. Nice and discolored, nice and old. You can get foam rollers from eBay or any online beauty and hair supply store website. And obviously you can go into a real store as well. But as is usually the case, I live in the country, really deep in the country. So I buy most of mine on eBay and stuff, and I could do it more. You're gonna need quite a few. If you do a full head of rollers, you're probably gonna need, depending on how much hair you have naturally and stuff, I reckon you're gonna need between 12 and 30, depending on how much hair, how many extensions you're adding and stuff. So there's that. I have these big ones that are really hard in the middle that I got like from some Chinese eBay store or whatever, that was super cheap, but they're hard, so obviously for sleeping on that's no good. But what I do find, as I sleep on my side, I can use them on the top and I can use them at the back. So if you have something like that and you don't know how to use them, my tip is just to bear in mind how you sleep and then use them on the sections where you don't rest on your head. So what I'm going to do, what I like to do is the top half, I put in pinholes using my pinhole tool, and I only use rollers on the bottom half because of, I know there are ways of using rollers on the top so you don't get a kink, but I'm terrible at it and I need to practice more. So I'm going to section my hair off. I'm terrible, by the way, at sectioning straight, so if it's not straight, you're just going to have to be really nice and pretend that I'm doing a good job. Thanks. But yeah, so I'm going to section off sort of where the line is below which I would normally add my extensions, and I'll turn around for you in a second. Already this is going real well. Well done. Okay, no, let's start again. Okay, we're going to grab this section from the front. You're going to need a sectioning clips. Grab that, do the same over here, and then follow that one round to the side here, so that it's all the way around from the back. As I said, I'm terrible at sectioning. I know that it never really comes out straight, so I'll turn around so you can see roughly the level of below which I try and do my hair. And to be honest, sometimes the way I do it is that before I even set my hair, I put the extensions in ready so that I don't set the top of my hair and then realize that I've left too little hair or too much. So I might go ahead and do that for you now. The tip I have is that because I have quite fine hair, I'm going to pin the top up. Because I have quite fine hair, I can't afford to give a lot of hair to each, section to grab hold of. Not when I'm trying to fit 2 rows in. So what I do is I back comb at the roots, the area that is going to be grabbing the extensions that we're grabbing hold of. That's why if you're doing your hair from wet, you can't really back comb the wet hair. So it's another good reason, if you have the same problem as me, to let it air dry a bit more before you add extensions in. So I'm just back combing the small section you can see that I've left for the bottom row. If I have a really unattractive double chin doing that, it's another thing I'm going to have to get you to pretend you didn't see. Right, so I'm going to be fixing that to the back of my hair so you can see they just snap on. It's really easy. So I take the middle clip, I find the middle of my hair, I snap that in, and then I work around from there. So you can see, if you can, I bet you can't. I'm so professional, I could definitely be a YouTuber, no problem. Right, so you get those clipped in. Then I would undo the sort of middle section that I just clipped, take that down, and get the next sort of little section, because I'm going to be putting in 2 layers here. Okay, let's do a bit of combing right here, brushing, because it's getting a bit sort of messed up and tangled. Yeah, so I want my hair, need something for it to grip hold of here. I'm going to leave a little bit down, follow this round, a little bit more. I have a song stuck in my head and it's really hard not to sing that loud because you don't need to hear that. That's not cute. Right, so for these 2 bits, I add 2 clips in here. You can see the difference. One of them is at maybe an inch longer than the other. So I bring, hang on, I haven't done my back combing. Getting a bit ahead of myself. Do your little back combing bit if you need to. If you don't need to, good for you. How come you need extensions? Just length. Your braggy, thick, beautiful hair. Right. I mean, that's a good look. We'll leave it like that. Alright, so yeah, I bring it round and I clip it in. Follow that round. So that brings me to not quite the very back of my head. And that's when I add the other section in, meeting it in the middle. I should have got like a trolley chair so I could actually turn all the way around for you to see. But as you'll see here, it means so you can see already how much extra hair that has given me. It's not crazy long. I deliberately wanted a very similar length to my hair, so the volume in a way kind of helps add to the length. So now that I've put it in, I don't need to keep this resectioned. I could take it apart. Now, right, this is where I'm going to start dampening sections of my hair and showing. So I'm just going to be that top section where no clip-ins are. I'm going to be using a pin curler tool to do that, so I'm probably going to fast forward through that or cut that out for you, because I'm sure you know how to wetset your hair anyway. But I'll show you this bit here. That's a bad section. Grab. There we go. That'll do. Kind of lazy. I'm really actually not good at it. Because I'm not a perfectionist about that. Wing liner, sure. But I just don't have the hair skills. So when it comes to sectioning off and things, right, I normally do 3 here. And as you can see, I only put a little bit of spray in. Showing you as well how to use the pin curler tool. Now my hair is always a little bit fuzzy setting it like this because I have fuzzy hair and it's half dry, but it brushes out pretty well, and if I need to I can use pomade and stuff like that to control the fuzz. My baby hair's out of control. I used to say that when you're pin curling your hair, do not use Kirby grips, bobby pins, hair grips, whatever you call them, because it will leave an indent, which I found was true when you are doing flat pin curls. But I find since I switched to using the pin curl sculptor tool, whatever it's technically called, using the bobby pins really helps, because it's such a tight curl that for me, using pin curl grips, see how fuzzy that looks, can just end up way too, can end up way too frizzy all over, because if I would like jab at the pin curls while putting my grips in, that doesn't help. But using the grips rather than the clips, with the limited space you get in the tight pin curl, really made a difference. There isn't much room for the grips, so using the clips instead really helps. I mean, the sculptor tool does have a comb for you to use, but I normally only partly use it, and only use that comb entirely if I'm traveling and didn't come with, well, forgot to bring my comb or something, which is obviously something you deeply regret come brush out time. Yeah, this is kind of a slapdash still. It's very hot. I don't deal well with that. Sometimes I do use rollers for this section, especially if I'm feeling really lazy, because it's so much quicker. But I do like having the tighter curl to try and form my front wave. Although, to be honest, I'll go for a week where for no reason that wave forms killer, and I hardly have to do anything with it, and it's amazing, and I obviously send pictures. Hi! So, there were some camera issues, and the entire section, the important part where I'm setting the extensions, got lost, which was delightful. So I'm having to film it all again. This bit here is real slapdash version, because I'm refilming this at another time, really late at night. It's been a long day. But yeah, so I set the top with my pink curler tool. This bit here, so I'm just setting, all of this that I've set already is my natural hair. There are no extensions in that part, it's the top part of my head. So we've got the pink curl section here. I have put in a couple of rollers there, kind of the medium sized ones. And then the back, I've got some big jumbo rollers. So from here, this section, as you can see, has clip-ins and my natural hair. So what I do is I divide the sections that I divide it by are each clip-in section and the hair that it's clipped onto. So for here, as you can see, I tend to do it over my ear for this particular piece. Spread a little bit. And then put that on jumbo rollers. Now, for the bit that's not from my ear, the rest of it, it's a case of you will be taking sections that are bigger than you normally would for pin curling, because pin curling you're generally pinching about an inch to do. This is much thicker because you've got that entire section of extension along with the natural hair as well. Wow, I was thinking about something else. Yeah, so it's thicker than usual, but that's why you've got the jumbo rollers and why that's fine. So you just go ahead and for the rest, you just keep doing this for the rest of the hair really. Same on this side. Find the kind of the separation of that extension clump. You don't have the ear on this side. So I have that bit there. So you don't have the ear to divide it. So it's just a case of taking a chunk that doesn't seem too huge. Okay, that'll do. And using that. Roll it, roll it, roll it. Obviously when it's all done, you're going to be securing it with a headscarf. You can find when you sleep in that the clips get a bit loose by morning, but that's fine because you could just tighten it up when it comes to brush out time. You just continue on all of your hair. It's pretty simple. It's not that different to the way you set your hair. You're just doing it in bigger chunks. It's even more slapdash. If I turn around, you'll see how badly separated in terms of sections. There's no straight sections at all. It's really messed up. But it doesn't matter. It's not gonna show up. So if you have the inability to draw, section, cut a straight line, anything like that, like I do, you'll be fine. This will turn out okay. Because once it's all down and you brush it out, you're blending it together, so it makes no difference at all. Just a couple more here. As you can see, it really doesn't take that many. The good thing about this as well, like it works the same way. If you're extending a set, like I've done it where I've been traveling and I've just taken 7 big jumbo rollers with me. I've set the sort of this section in one big sort of barrel roll kind of thing, and a couple of ones here around the crown of my face, and then just use 6 jumbo rollers to pinch together the rest of my extensions of my hair just overnight, and I've got some of the most amazing sets I've ever had out of that. Didn't even have to dampen it, literally just trying to sort of keep some semblance of a curl in my hair when I haven't been anywhere where I've been able to take all of my stuff, and that works out fine. So yeah, in the end, this looks really messy, it looks terrible, it's super badly sectioned, it's not straight, doesn't matter, it'll still brush out great. The extensions are really good because they're real, they react like real hair does, it's great. So next up you will see the brush out.